Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's presentation, Report Library Insights in an Instant. Thank you for taking time out today to join this event. My name is Hind Fayyad, and I'm one of the marketing coordinators here at ClearRisk. For anyone in the audience who is new to ClearRisk, we are a risk management software provider in St. John's, Newfoundland, Canada. The goal of our solution is to enable success through risk optimization. We help customers take control of their entire risk program by providing visibility into all information relevant to claims, risk, and insurance. If you're already a customer, we know that pre-built reports are something that you guys have been asking us for. We're very excited to present today's topic and to show you what we've been cooking up. I'm sure many of you know already that we have significantly enhanced our product, and today we will explore ClearRisk's report library and executive dashboards. We consider reporting to be an important part in delivering the maximum value to our customers. As with all our webinars, our goal for this session is to provide relevant and educational content that can be applied easily in your roles. The reporting process can be broken down into two consecutive steps. 1, managing your data, and 2, visualizing your data. Having a system like ClearRisk in place helps with step 1, ensuring that your data is well categorized, organized, centralized, and more importantly, that it is free of error and up to date. Step 2 is what we will be discussing in today's webinar. Whether it's financial reporting for C-level executives, reporting requirements for renewals, or reporting to implement corrective action, our report library will make it so much easier. Today, you will hear from ClearRisk Senior Account Executive, Sam Awan, who will discuss how to use and export pre-built reports, different examples of the reports available and their importance, and how to use executive dashboards and set up report receivers. We're so excited to demo this new functionality publicly for the first time, with the goal of making the reporting process less overwhelming and time-consuming for our customers. The aim of reporting is to help you ask and answer questions around your data, as well as share conclusions and create a narrative around findings. After Sam's presentation, we'll be joined by Mark Crocker and Sean Kennedy from the ClearRisk team, who will form our panelists for the live Q&A. Before we get started, I want to go over a few housekeeping items. Because this is an online event, let me start by outlining some of the engagement features of this platform. First of all, we encourage you to leave comments or reactions in the chat on the right of your screen. Just a gentle reminder that your comments are publicly available to everybody in this room, both during and after the webinar. I'll be moderating the chat during this event, and I'm happy to engage with you all. Our panelists are also happy to answer any questions you have throughout the webinar. Please submit your questions by clicking the Ask a Question button at the bottom of your screen. If someone has already asked a question that you want to see answered, you have the ability to upvote questions to push them up the priority list. If you accidentally ask a question in the chat, have no fear. I'll make sure it makes it onto our list. We have plenty of time at the end to answer all the questions you have, but if time runs short, we'll be sure to reach out to you and make sure your question gets answered. We've also added a few questions under the polls button at the bottom of your screen. We encourage your participation and engagement throughout the session. We've also outlined 10 of the most important reports that risk management teams should care about in one of our recent blogs. We won't be going into the details of each report today because then we'd be here all day. But if you want to see more examples after the presentation, click on the Check Out These 10 Reports button, also at the bottom of your screen. Last but not least, if you have to leave early, want to rewatch this webinar, or share it with colleagues, the link you used to join today will continue to host the recording after the event is over. Just sign back in the way you did today and start watching. On that note, I want to invite ClearRisk Senior Account Executive, Sam Awan, to the stage.
Thank you very much, Hind, for the introduction. I appreciate it. Welcome, everybody, to our webinar on Reports Library Insights in an Instant. So today, what are we going to be talking about? Reports. We all know what reports are. So a format for my discussion would be I'll talk a little bit about what reports are, why should you use them, what are ClearRisk reports, and who are some of the users, and then, of course, I'll talk a little bit about the features of our reporting suite, so the cool stuff. A report is a document that presents information in an organized format for a specific audience and purpose. Although summaries of reports may be delivered orally, but complete reports are always in a visual format. We all have to generate reports of some sort for our day-to-day purpose. Some of us are really good in generating reports, while some of us struggle. I happen to struggle with some of my own reports. Not gonna lie here, it's very easy to generate reports when you're talking about 30 to 40 records, but when you have like hundreds of records and multiple variables, things can get very, very tricky very quickly. ClearRisk gives you the ability to run a report on any object in your workflow. These reports are true representation of your data. This could be number of claims, incidents, assets based on certain time period, location, severity, type, etc. Within our reports package, you have about 25 built-in reports. You can use these reports as is, or if you choose to, you can customize these reports to your liking. These reports can be shared with internal and external parties, for example, your team members, senior management, your TPAs, or insurers. Typical users of our reports are risk professionals, property managers, finance professionals, insurance companies, etc. So today what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be sharing my screen to show you what our platform looks like in terms of reporting. So for that purpose, Hind is going to disable my video while I go ahead and share my screen. And once you're able to see my screen, if you can just give me a thumbs up, that'd be great. Perfect. So can everybody see my screen? Okay, great. I'll take that as a yes. So this is ClearRisk's platform. What you're looking at right now is our reports module. We have reports for every single level when it comes to reporting. We have canned reports for our C-suite. These reports will only give financial data to senior management. We have reports around your assets. We have reports for your claims and incidents. If you go into specific report type, it will tell you exactly what the report is. So for example, we're looking at a ClearRisk asset reports. This is the open liability claims. You can have a description. Description can be your own description, which makes your life easier. If you have multiple reports, you can select which folder you want to go ahead and save it to. It tells you who the report was created by and when was it created. It all helps when you have multiple reports. So for the assets, we have just one report for this purpose of this webinar. But when we go into claims reports, you can see there are tons and tons of reports. So for example, loss runs year to date, recovery report for the current year, claims amount paid by the company, by the insurer, combined between the company and the insurer, total cost of claims quarterly, for the full year, slip and falls, total cost of claims for the year. I mean, you name it, you have all the resources available. And like I said in the beginning, these reports are pre-built reports. You can go and add to these reports. So think about it as a Word document in simple terms. You can start with a document, and if you want to make any changes, you hit save as, and then you can make all your changes, and it would be a separate document without changing anything in the primary document. For the purpose of today's discussion, I'm going to be talking about the loss run year-to-date report. So here on your screen, it will tell you exactly what are the two main claim types. In this example, we're looking at automobile and incidents. It tells you your payment, recovery, reserve, and total details, where all the information lies. And then, of course, it talks about the claims associated with both types. At this point, what I would like to show is you can simply either click on a claim. It will take you back to that claim record. You can search information if you want to update anything, and if you want to see how and when was it completed, you can certainly go ahead and do that. You can go from the report. Another option I want to show at this point is you have the ability to go ahead and subscribe to this report. Very important feature if you want to send it to a set number of users at a certain interval. For example, if you're sending a report today, let's say every Monday of the week, you can simply come here and configure that. So it gets sent out weekly on a Monday at a time interval that you like, for example, 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, 10 in the morning. It's completely up to you. You can attach any files to it. You can select recipients. You can give their usernames, and of course they will start to receive the reports. You also have some conditional logic here. For example, if you want to go ahead and you only want to send out a report when a certain action has happened. So for the purpose of this specific report, if the sum of total amount, you can select an operator equals, less than, greater than, has reached a certain threshold, for example, $45,000 for the sake of argument, it will only send out a report after this condition has met. Once you hit save, this report will be sent out at your periodic interval that you have selected once this condition is true. If you don't want to talk about conditional logic and only want to send out weekly every Monday at 12 a.m., for example, you just have to hit save and everybody on the subscriber list will get that report. From this point, what I want to talk a little bit about is there are multiple things, and just for the format, I'm logged in as an admin. I'm going to be switching back between an admin and as a user. So just to show you what different levels of engagement you can have and what are some of the restrictions on a user account versus an admin account. So at this point, what I want to show is our dashboard. And the reason I'm jumping to the dashboard so early on in this webinar is I want to show you a very powerful feature. So this is what our web dashboard looks like. Very, very cool. If you ask me, I think it gives you a lot of information at a very quick glance. You can see exactly what's happening in your organization, and it's very easy to customize these. You can change the look and feel of it. You can make them small, big. You can move them around. It's completely up to you. And of course, you can have subscribers for your dashboards as well. The feature that I wanted to show you here was that every dashboard, all of these, they are a representation of a report that is attached to it. So for example, we talked about loss run. Loss run report, this dashboard, this specific widget represents that report. So for example, if we click on the report here, it will take us back to the original report that we were looking at. And now we only have a handful of records for these two different types of claims. Imagine you had 400 records here or 300 records here. And if you only wanted to see what happened to my automobile claims versus incidents, you can simply come here and click on this drill down feature. Very, very cool feature. Once you go here, it gives you the ability which record type or how do you want to group these by. So we will say just record type, you hit apply. And now once it populates, it will only show your automobile claims. You can simply go and check what were those claims. Again, we only have a couple here, but imagine if you had a couple of hundred here, it would make your life a lot more easier. And it's now only giving you the view of your automobile claims. You can certainly click on a claim and it will take you right back at your claim. You can see the details in case there was some type of a question around a specific claim, or if management asked, why are we having such a high number of automobile claims? You can certainly go back and come up with a response based to that question. If you want to go ahead and click get rid of this drill down feature that I just showed, all you have to do is click on this funnel right here, and where it says claims incident record type equals automobile, you just hit delete and you'll come back to your original instance. You can do the same thing if you want to, for example, go ahead and now do by incidents. You'll do the same thing, drill down, hit apply, and now it's only showing you your incidents. And again, you have the access to the number of claims that are incidents, and of course the details can be looked at if you click on the claim like I showed earlier. Again, if you want to get rid of it, simply hit delete and you're back to the original position. Now, as I mentioned, I'm logged in as an admin. We have access to a lot of reports here. For example, if your team members want to go ahead and massage the report a little bit and make it more personalized, they can do that. The way they will do it is they will be logged in as a user and they can save a report. So they'll click on the save as report option, and I will show you in just 1 second. I'm still logged in as an admin, and I want to mention here that any report that you have created as an admin will stay intact. Your users will, even if they create multiple reports after saving as your original report, will stay intact. So you don't have to worry about a user deleting an admin report. So at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to log out of my admin account and log in as a user. So I'll go to the reports, and this is the report that we've been talking about. It shows me who was it created by. So Allison here is an admin. She created this report. I'm going to click on this report. And now I have the ability to go ahead and save this report. I'll click on save as, and you can name it anything you want. For the purpose of this discussion, we'll call it webinar live loss run year to date. Of course, you can change the description to your liking. You can select the folder. But for the purpose of this discussion, we'll only keep it in this folder, ClearRisk Claims Report folder. I'll hit save. And now I am in the same report. Remember, initially I talked about you can customize a report. Since now I have saved it, save as, now I can go into edit. And this is the meat and potatoes of the whole thing. You can make changes any way, shape, way, or form you want. For example, you want to change different types instead of record type. If you want to select something else, you have the ability to go ahead and select that. If, for example, right now we're looking at claims number, claimant name, policy, and incident. If I want to go ahead and move the policy detail further down, it will do that in an instant. And when you're doing that, please always make sure that this update preview automatically is checked. If it's not checked, it won't show. And sometimes there could be a little bit of a frustration that, well, Sam showed me it worked, but why is it not working for me? So I just wanted to point this out. Once you have done this, you have customized this report. Now you can go ahead and hit save. And for this report, this will be your view. If you want to go ahead and create a dashboard for this specific report, you can certainly do so. You come here, you click new dashboard, you call it webinar loss run, for example. You hit create. It will ask you for a component. We'll pick this report that we selected. You hit select. You can make it personalized. You can select whichever way you like. I personally like these reports much better than anything else because they give me a real representation of what's happening. You can customize them to your liking. You can change the color, fields, and everything. And again, you can make it as pretty as you want. But this was just to give you a representation of exactly how would you turn a report into a dashboard. Coming back to the report now, remember how we talked about all the other reports are created by our admin, Allison here. I created this one. I'm logged in as a user. What happens if I want to go ahead and change the folder? Because you can see I saved it in the main claims report folder. This could be your management folder where you should not be saving anything. What you can do is you can come here and you can say new folder, and we'll just keep the same naming convention, reports folder. So this is the folder that we created. And the report that we had, I'll go back to the reports. So now you can come here, click on this arrow button and click on move, and you can move it to the folder that you want. So now this report is not in the admin folder, if you will, and now it's in your personalized folder. So for example, this one right here. Let's say you're working on this report and accidentally you click this button. Well, not accidentally. Let's say you click this button and accidentally you hit delete. Well, and then you accidentally delete again. It can happen. Your work just on the surface of it is gone, but it's not. What you can do is you can simply come here, go to recycle bin, and this recycle bin just works just like your computer. So anything that you have done, it's in the recycle bin. If you go delete it from the recycle bin, then it's completely gone. But you can come here and select again and hit restore. If you hit restore, you can go back to your folder and your report will be there. So it's very functional because mistakes happen. And I've been guilty of it. When you have like 30-40 reports, you're trying to delete one report, and naming convention can be challenging sometimes. You end up deleting a wrong report. So don't worry, you have the ability to go back and restore. Let's assume you have deleted this and now you're trying to restore a report. Your admin will always have the ability to go back and restore from an admin account as well. And again, so we'll go ahead and for the sake of this discussion, I'm going to delete this again so I can show you what I'm talking about. If we go back to recycle, so we have these two reports here. I can restore it from here, but for example, if you want to go ahead and delete it completely, and the reason you would want to delete it completely is because remember we created a folder, this folder right here, a webinars folder. If you click on it, there's nothing in this folder. But for example, if I want to go ahead and delete this folder, I'll show you what will happen. It tells me that there is a file associated with this folder. And you can say, well, no, I've deleted everything. It's in the recycle bin. You won't be able to delete a folder until the admin has deleted that report from the admin side. So I'll show you exactly what I mean. I'm going to be logging out as a user, and I will re-log back in as an admin now. Come on. So now if we go back to, now we're logged in as Allison again, we're going to go back to our recycle bin. Not recycling, recycle bin. And here we see all the reports. These are all my reports. If you go to org recycle bin, it will tell you exactly what all those reports are. So this is the report that I was trying to delete. So you can simply go ahead and either delete it from here, or you can also restore it from here. So your admin will have access to the reports eventually. So it's a good thing because your work is protected. It has to go through a couple of levels of authentication before it's completely gone. So if I, for example, go ahead and delete it from here and hit OK, now I would be able to go back, log in as a user, and delete that folder. And I think it's an important feature. I will show you anyways. So we go to all folders. This is the folder that we created, which is an empty folder. I just wanted to show you. Now I can come here and I can hit delete, and we can delete the folder. So I showed you end to end exactly how you can create a report, save it in a folder. If you need to delete a report, what are the ways to delete it? If you want to restore it, how you can restore it. If you want to completely delete a folder, you'll have to first delete everything from your user account, and then an admin has to go in and remove all those reports before you can delete a folder. I hope that gives you a little bit of information on exactly how reports, creating a folder, deleting a folder works. Now I want to talk a little bit about our dashboards. I'm logged in as a report user. So this is the dashboard that we created. For the purpose of showing what the dashboards are, I'm going to be logging in back as an admin. My apologies for logging back and forth. You can't have two different types of login, whether an admin or a user in a same browser. Of course, an admin will always have preference. So that's why I'm toggling back and forth again and again. I'm still logged in as a user. My apologies. Perfect. So going back to dashboards, we'll talk about this dashboard. So why are dashboards important? Dashboards are important because you as a risk manager, for example, or a property manager, you want to have the visibility onto exactly what's going on. You want to know how many claims are open, how many claims are closed, and what is happening on open claims, whether they're being worked on internally or they're being handled by your TPA. You always want to be on top of things. You can have your own dashboard where it shows you how many claims are open externally and how many claims are open internally. But for example, you have a quarterly meeting with senior management and they want to see just on a high level what's going on. You can have a dashboard very, very similar to this, and it's very easy to come up with this type of dashboard like I showed you. You can come up with all this information fairly quickly and very efficiently. Once you have done this, this can now be shared with others within your organization. Subscription was one thing that I wanted to talk about. I've also already showed you how you can subscribe to a report. Similarly, you can subscribe to a dashboard as well. And reports can be sent for your internal users, people within the organization, and of course for people outside of the organization as well. We have talked about how you can save a report, customize a report, and change different columns or records to your own liking. Um, for the purpose of this webinar, I think this is all I wanted to show today. With that note, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop my screen share, and I'm just going to quickly talk about a couple of other things. Just on a high level, I want to talk about the value. Why are reports so important? In short, reports save you time. They give you a lot of information at a glance. Like I mentioned at the beginning, we have challenges when we're working with lots and lots of records, a huge data set. You can customize these reports at an instance. Our team does a great job coming up with reports that are important to our customers. And most of these reports that you're seeing, they are built based on our customer feedback. Some reports we thought were important, but the most important ones are where we get feedback from our customers that, you know what, we need to see specific type of information, details on regular basis, which are very time consuming. So we have done that, and that's why we give you about 25 built-in reports. Multiple people can have access to the data. It keeps everybody in the picture, and once everybody's in the picture, everybody has streamlined goals, and you're all moving in the same direction. Um, smart reports are important because they help develop future forecasts, guide budget planning, and of course, it helps you improve decision making. We're constantly working to improving our reports package to make your life easier and, of course, give you the visibility that you need and deserve. With that note, I hope this session was informational. I hope you learned something new. In case if you have any questions, feel free to ask away in our chat or get a hold of us at a later point. I'm going to be introducing two of my colleagues now, Sean Kennedy, who's our Director of Marketing, and Mark Crocker, the brains behind our reports package. They're going to be our panelists, and of course, they are going to go ahead and answer any questions you may have. Thank you very much for attending, and please let us know if you have any questions. Hey, Mark. Hey, Sean.
Hey, Sam.
Hello again.
Hello. So it looks like we have 7 questions submitted. Thank you all for submitting your questions. I'm going to be going through the ones that got upvotes first, and I'll just be asking those in order. So the first one is from Janet. She asked, can you send reports to someone who's not a ClearRisk admin user?
Yeah, that's as simple as what Sam was showing earlier about subscriber lists. It doesn't have to be to an admin user, it can be to anybody. And that pretty much comes down to your organization and what your employee hierarchy set up and who has access to reports and that. But yes, you can send them out.
All right, awesome. The next question is from Rob. He said, hi, for aesthetics, is it possible to give a report header with our corporate logo above the data being presented?
As of right now, Salesforce does not have that option in any of the reporting system. You can upload your own branding onto it, but in terms of putting an actual header to reports, that isn't a feature that's available yet.
All right. The next question is, what are the options for updating data automatically from other departments so that the reports are as accurate as possible?
Yeah, so currently right now, our pretty much go-to method is going to be via SFTP. We also do API as well. Now, we also allow delegate users in the system, so allowing other departments a view of their department's information, which can be figured for their needs. So we do have that option as well. And ClearRisk will work with you on that to help you any step of the way.
On that note, I'll jump in. ClearRisk in general will work with you to identify any possible integrations. There's a ton of value in connecting with other departments and other systems that might exist in your organization already. If we can take existing data that is used or discussed in risk management conversation and can help add to the insights that we gather from reports and dashboards, we want to help you get there. So as Mark mentioned, there's several ways to do it, and we haven't had a customer request yet for an integration that we weren't able to accomplish. So please, if you're out there and you're wondering if you're going to be moving into an RMIS, or if you're evaluating, or if you're a current customer in the audience listening, follow up with your customer success manager, and if you're a prospect, reach out, fill out the demo form, and we'll be in touch from a sales perspective real fast.
Awesome. All right. Our next question is, how do you filter so reports not only show the gross paid out on each file, but also for each quarter of the year?
Yeah, so that's going to work with filtering options in reports itself. So you can set up the filter based on that record type alone on gross paid. So it filters by gross paid only. And the other easy way to do it, if you have in your organization, if you're set up on either by fiscal quarter or calendar quarter in the system, then you can just apply another filter to that and just select which quarter you want it to filter by, and it will only draw in for that quarter. So it's a very quick and easy process.
Awesome. So another question is it easy to edit the dashboard view so that only the information I need appears? Can I choose different charts than the ones already there?
All right, so for looking at changing the dashboard views, you can easily set dashboard filters based on the users that's viewing, or you can set up filters and just use folders to add or remove permissions for different users. So you can choose who gets to see what particular pieces of that. So the dashboards itself can be pretty dynamic in that regard. With them being editable, you can also add up to 10 components at any given time with them as well.
Great. Another question is there a folder of reports specifically for renewals? If there is, which reports are included in that?
So the reports for renewals right now is actually on the roadmap. It's what we're currently discussing. We're in the discovery phase right now of trying to figure out which reports is going to be the best for that system. And once we figure out which ones that we're going to be doing, I'm going to get to work on building those out, and I'm hoping to have that package rolled out sometime this quarter, barring nothing goes wrong.
And I think Rob had a follow-up when Mark talked about uploading branding. Can we elaborate?
I did add that to the list. We can talk about that one now. So he said it was about adding the header logo. He said, can you elaborate on uploading your own branding in response to my question?
Yeah, Salesforce has we have an option there that allows you to upload. If you have a company logo, there's a step-by-step process where you can upload your logo and your branding info into your organization. Now, we also have with our implementation and support specialists, I know they've been doing it quite a bit with our customers as well. So they have a pretty straightforward way of getting your branding within your organization. Like I said, it doesn't put it directly on to your reports as a header or anything, but it's there within your organization that you can have your logo and your branding within the instance.
All right, I hope that answers your question, Rob. Okay, two more. So will customers be able to request other pre-made reports in the future?
Yes, that is something we're going to be doing, mainly because ClearRisk currently has a feature request process. So you can put in a request for any feature, and then basically what we'll do then is we review them and keep in touch with you and give you updates within timely manners of when they can happen. But that is a feature we have, and if you have any features that you want requests or anything like that, you can certainly do it through that way.
Yeah, it's a continual conversation. What's going to provide the most value? When we think about some of the foundational reasons why we switch from what we were using before into a digital system like ClearRisk, the one thing that remains true on a regular basis is you keep adding to your database. I was doing some innovative research not too long ago, and I read a quote to something to the effect of, most of the data, I want to say 99% of the data that exists on Earth today was created in the last couple of years. Hind laughs because she heard me say that 1,000 times. So that's the value there. So if we can grab the information that you're collecting on a regular basis, and provide the most insight that we can that's at all possible, that's going to provide the value from your perspective. That's the goal. That's really the goal of the dashboards and reporting modules, is to get you to a place where that information is usable. So please, I mean, if you have ideas, reach out to anyone who will listen at ClearRisk, and we'll get them on a map, and they'll be continuously evaluated as part of a roadmap process.
Awesome. Rob just followed up to his question again. He said, so just inside of ClearRisk, not able to add branding to a report.
That's correct. So you can put it just inside ClearRisk. Now, where we were just talking about that feature, that request feature option, I would highly recommend, if you want to put in a case through that, we will actually sit down with the dev team and see if we can go about doing a custom option for that, and to enable that, if that is something that would be highly beneficial to you, that you would really want.
That is a question that got an upvote, so it's possible that multiple people are thinking the same thing.
Perfect. That is something that can go right through the feature request, and we'll sit down and see if it is possible. And if it isn't, we'll certainly let you know and give you some alternative options if that's something we can do.
All right. And last but not least, as a ClearRisk customer, when will this functionality be available to us?
So we're hoping to have it out to ClearRisk 2 users now within the coming weeks, I believe is the roadmap for it. We're trying to really get a time down, because we're currently working on another special surprise that we're releasing, but unfortunately I can't go into that details yet. That will be released at a future date, but we're hoping to coincide a couple of big releases and some special new features coming up soon. So look for that in the coming weeks.
Exciting. All right. One last question came in right after I said that was the last question. So we're going to do one more and call it a day. So if I edit and save one of the pre-built reports, does it update in real time as data is added into ClearRisk? Thanks.
Yeah, it does. So it will update automatically. Now, there is an asterisk with this, of course. If you have, this is based on if you have filters set on your report. If you don't have any filters, then it's going to do it. But if you have a filter, say, set on a created date or an incident date between a specific period, say like Q1 or whatever, or for the past 2 years, it won't update based on that, because obviously you're putting in new data for today's date. So if you end up just cloning the report, and if you want to make the same report for the current quarter, then you can just take that and then change the incident date filter to the current quarter, and then it will automatically update to the new ones that you did put in.
All right. That was the last question for today. Thank you, everyone, for attending. Thank you to our panelists for answering the Q&A. We have a lot more webinars coming up, and we want to hear from you guys. So if there's any webinar that you want to see in the future, reach out to info@clearrisk.com. Oh, one more question came in from Rob again. We can answer that. So can we have reports that run information based on a point in time?
Yes, you can. So we can set up various different reports based on that. We can do trend analysis. We can do historic analysis. We can do any report, like just sort of a snapshot reporting. Anything like that can be set up to your custom needs. So that is 100% doable.
All right. Perfect. Well, on that note, we'll end the broadcast for today. Thank you guys so much for attending. You can rewatch, like I said, you can come back to the same link and rewatch this webinar if you wanted to go back and hone in on any of the points our panelists said. And thank you so much. Bye.